Welcome to the Pirate Players Then and Now podcast, this very special edition about a very special player, and have opportunity to talk with another special Hamptonian who graced the gridiron for the university. And the player that we're going to discuss is Mr. Timothy Benson, and the person we're talking with is his younger brother, Mr. Malcolm Benson. Malcolm, welcome.
Thank you. Appreciate you. Give me this opportunity.
Well, I thank you for, we have a mutual friend who put us in touch and knew that I was doing something like this. And I had said, look, from my perspective, when I hit the ground, I got to Hampton in the fall of '93. If you were talking about anything football, you were talking about Tim Benson. During that time, it was amazing. I watched, just as a young person who got to the campus from New York, didn't have any friends when I got there. Football was my lifeline. I went to all the games. I even rode the bus to New York. There was a game in New York, one of the Giant Stadium games. I rode the bus all the way up.
Yep.
Yeah. Rode the bus all the way up and all the way back, because football was a way in which for me to stay connected. And Tim was getting awards, from what I remember, both for being a great athlete and a great student, which is, people are saying things like today the student athlete is dead. And I struggle with that because I think of Tim Benson. I think of you. And I'm like, I think that there's still room for that reality in this world. So that's my, initial recollection of you all. But I'm curious, kind of, how did Tim end up at Hampton? You guys are from Jefferson City, Mississippi.
Missouri, yeah, Jefferson.
I'm sorry, Missouri.
Missouri. Hey, it's all the same. Middle of nowhere. It's a great story, and it's a full circle story in regards to that. So our mother raised three boys in the middle of Missouri. So Jefferson City is the capital of Missouri. 30,000 when we grew up. It's halfway between St. Louis and Kansas City. We have one and a half. Well, there's a Catholic high school there, but there's only one public high school there. 2,500 students, 2% black. But one of the biggest things was the sports there, and our mother was struggling with the three boys, but her emphasis is, as long as you go to church, have good grades, then you can play all the sports. So Tim, being the trailblazer, Tim did the typical football, basketball, and track. And he was a phenomenal, he didn't do it in college, but he was a phenomenal running back. And he, I think they won state. His junior year, he won state. I started playing with him my sophomore year. His senior year, we went to semifinals, but we lost in 4 overtimes. So Tim started getting offers everywhere because his grades were immaculate. And Tim was an alpha man before he was an alpha man. His junior year, this guy that came into school, he started emulating. So Tim started dressing up and taking a briefcase to school as a high schooler, his junior and senior year. So if you know anything about Tim, he's been that way since 16 years old. Okay.
Wow.
He's always been a businessman, but when you got between those lines in football, it was all football. He was a hell of a basketball player too, and I think his senior year he ended up getting 6th in state in the high jump. So, like I said, he was a pure athlete, but when he wasn't on the court, the field, the track, he was a student. So everybody, even in high school, you know what I'm saying, he was emulated. So, of course, where do you think that he was going to go to school? Yale. So one of the big schools that came out of here was Yale. Tim wore a Yale hat. Tim was going to an Ivy League school. And our mother, in her infinite wisdom, pushed back on everything and said, you needed to go to an HBCU. Her and my father went to South Carolina State. And she saw what her son needed. And he needed that community and that culture. So for months, he would wear that Yale hat around, and everybody and their mother was just saying how crazy she was because he didn't have any offers. And being, like I said, from a school that was only 2% black, I remember my mom telling us how the school counselor even said, she's like, I didn't know black schools gave scholarships.
Wow.
So, but we had people in our church, and then Erica Cook. She was one of our friends that she was maybe 2 years older than Tim, and the Shinholsters. They went to Hampton, so my mom worked, and that gets a little fuzzy how he got it, but he got a full scholarship to Hampton. Now, not knowing until later on, probably after I graduated that, not knowing how it worked out. So we were Division II then. So to get a
Hmm.
full scholarship at an HBCU in a Division II when there's only 36 full scholarships is speaks volumes. And then to send your son, it is 1,100 miles from Jefferson City to Hampton University. And of course, we didn't have any money. We drove that. We'd only come home for Christmas in the summer. 16 hours from Moton Hall to our front door was 5 turns. 64 takes you all the way into Missouri, and then I-70, and then Highway 58, and then Highway 50, and then you're home. 16 hours. So she sent her oldest son and put him in that environment, and he thrived. He was
Yes, he did.
he did more than what I'm sure she was even amazed at what she did. He did, and like I said, but the full circle of it, he matriculated, went to University of Rochester on a full ride to medical school, and then ended back up as his residency up there in Cambridge at Mass General, and then later on he became on the staff of Harvard Medical. So he made it way. He made it back to the Ivies.
he,
Yeah,
he found his way there.
he found his way there, but God bless my mother for doing that. And unfortunately, she did not get to see the fruit of her labor. So she passed from breast cancer. The summer after I graduated from Hampton, it was Tim's going into his 3rd year of medical school. So she never did get to see him matriculate to the Ivies and afterwards, whatever. But she put that foundation in there too. So
Well, she sounded like she had a vision for what he
yes,
needed. She understood her son and what he needed,
she
and
didn't play.
you, well, and you ended up following to Hampton as well. How'd that happen?
That was even crazier because this once he's a trailblazer. So when he left, I played my junior and senior year without no brother on the team because we have a younger brother that was there too, but he's 3 years, so he was a freshman my senior year. So my junior year, we won state. I went off. Had the longest run touchdown. Had a game-winning touchdown. We won. I was a 6 man off the bench in basketball. I went to state in the 100, the 4x1, the 4x2, and the long jump. So going into my senior year, I was one of the top athletes coming out of Missouri. So back then it was the Big Eight. So Mizzou was in the Big
Hmm.
Eight. So but our mother was really dead set on us nobody going to the University of Missouri. So she wanted us to get out of there. I was recruited by everybody and their mother. Halfway through my senior season, got what they said ended up being some type of defect in my fifth lumbar, and I woke up after one game and couldn't walk.
Oh,
And every school dropped me except like the Air Force Academy. But my parents, and family were in the military. They did not want any of us to go into the military, even though it was an academy. And then Vanderbilt was the last one to drop me, and then Hampton was like, "We'll take you." I was like, "I don't think I can play football anymore." They was like, "It's fine, we'll figure it out." And I was just like, "What?" They was just like, "Your brother's here. I mean, he's on offense, you play defense." Because I played DB, and even though I played both ways in high school, like we played Ironman football. But I came into
hmm.
Hampton as a DB, and it was Coach Taylor's first year. So I came in there with the recruitship. He offered me, and I tell to this day, I was like, I told you, I don't think I can play because I couldn't play basketball the rest of the season, and I couldn't run track, But by the grace of God, I got there. They moved me from DB to receiver, and then but I was redshirted. And so I didn't get to play my first year with Tim. And in the spring ball, they moved me to running back, 175-pound running back, and with just all muscle, but with no weight or whatever. And then from then on, so me and Tim got to play my sophomore and his senior year together. And
Yep.
then it was history after that.
Yeah, that was my freshman year.
Yeah.
The You talked about some of the transitions, and I read an article. I've read a lot to try to kind of make sure I understood what was happening with the family, or with him. And it seemed like he started off as a wide receiver. Did he bulk up to play tight end later on?
Yes,
Or?
we bulked up. So what we were from, like I said, where we from in mid Missouri, it's just Iron Man football. We'd have 60 people on the team. Only 13 people played. Our coach, by the time we left, he was the second winningest high school coach in America. So, I mean, we went years without ever losing. So my family is the most decorated between Tim, myself, and our younger brother Ivan. We have five state champions. So all we did was lift. All we did, and our coach only believed in bench press, incline, squats, and power clean. So when we got to Hampton, it was the facilities was less than our high school. You know what I'm saying? Not to bang on, but like now what I see is phenomenal compared to what I came in with. But Tim bulked up. He already knew how to lift weights and technique. We just had to get around people that were more competitive than what we grew up with. And like I said, to everything Tim was a challenge, he always stepped into it. And like I said, he bulked up, but he was already strong. You know what I'm saying? We were called what we call country strong. So when he
Yep.
became a tight end, when he down block on you, it was a wrap. Him and the tackles, yeah, double team you, and then he move upfield. But what's he's more phenomenal, he's always has hands of gold. I don't know if I ever seen him drop a football. So being able to do something like that, to be able to also block and to catch and run precise patterns, yeah, it was unstoppable. Like I said, that was the foundation of what Hampton football and dominating the CIAA and then eventually moving to MEAC. It started with that group of guys that were already there that Coach Taylor just added to.
Yeah, because Coach Taylor came during Tim's time, so he was already on scholarship, as you said, uh, and he said, "Look, we could do something with this young man."
Oh yeah, I mean they loved him to the point. I don't think they learned my name until 2 years after he left. It was Tim's brother, the Benson boys, the Tim's brother. Then they tried sometimes. It was like Melvin. I was like, that's not my name. Marcus. I was like, no, just call me Tim's brother. So
Hey, you were in good company. That's all I'll say about that, right?
yes,
There's
yes,
there's there's nothing wrong with that.
not a
And it
bad
must
thing.
have been and nice to play, certainly to play with him. His senior year, you got on the field. That, like I said, my recollection of that was he was everywhere, and he was winning awards, and which culminated in the President's Cup, right? I mean, when President Harvey gave him the President's Cup,
Correct.
which I tried to read up on. Has any other football player won the President's Cup that you know of?
I don't think it was offered. You know what I'm saying? So I don't even know. Yeah, for him to and I get that award as a football player, as a
Mm-hmm.
biology major, and like I said, the countless awards that he won, but that was probably one of the most ones he's proud of because it actually showed in an appreciation. But it wasn't. It's not like a give me award. You have to earn that. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
you
You have
do.
to earn that. It has nothing to do with football. So to your point that I don't know any other athletes, I'm sure there are, but I don't know any other football player that got that award.
Yeah, I've seen in recent times other athletes winning it for other sports, soccer and so forth, other sports in general, but no football players, and so that just speaks volumes to what Tim was able to do during his time. He was very serious both on and off the field, and that certainly should be commended and acknowledged.
Yep. And then I said one of the biggest awards, like I said, that really put Hampton on the map because that was one of the awards he won a lot of academic awards that was putting Hampton on the map. and we were winning. So then when that they started highlighting, and shout out to LeCount, late LeCount, the SID and stuff like that, started pushing Tim out there, getting his name out there. Coca-Cola, Toyota, BET Award, but for him to what is called now the Academic Heisman Award. You know, that's the National Football Foundation College Football Hall of Fame Award, and that really put Hampton on the map because only 15 to 17 people from Division One all the way down to NAIA are selected. So that's, you know, think of how many 100,000 of college football players, and only 17 are selected. And it's on the field and your academic thing. And for him to get that in '93, it really put Hampton athletics on the map.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I saw that. And did I see that you have some affiliation to that as well?
Yes, I won it 2 years later. Yeah. So there's three people. Michael Bland won it some years later after that too. But there's three of us that are, which is nice because they moved the College Football Hall of Fame here to Atlanta. So on the third floor, you can see myself and Tim's name up there, carved in history forever to be up there. And for another full circle moment, since we are in Atlanta, my son that just graduated 2 years ago, he won one of the top academic athletics award, and for a year, your name is in there in the College Football Hall of Fame too. So all three of us at last year, all in there for the same time.
That must have felt great.
Oh man, yeah, just to be in there, and I was just like, but Tim started it. That's what I'm saying. He started all of that, and I was telling my son, don't be lost on this moment that your uncle did. So
Right,
yeah,
right. Well, he's definitely had a significant academic focus. He did great things, like I said, on and off the field. You just described some of that. And I've been reading his book, you know, Surviving, Surviving Success recently, and just trying to get my arms around some of the things that happened after he left, because certainly you don't hear as much, or if you're not in certain circles, you don't hear as much. But he did a lot of really amazing things even after the fact. Including, I was really appreciating the transparency in the book. He talks a lot about some of the challenges that he had and how he overcame that. I think that's really valuable in general.
yeah, and I'm glad that they said with his books that he was able to share that. Like I said, and two, you kind of alluded it to in the beginning of this conversation, is like a lot of that academic athletic stuff is going to be lost with the NIL and with all of this money in the portal, and so it's not a focus anymore. And I wish more people could, understand what the importance of that was, and to like how his career flourished after that. Because like I said, our mother foundation of going to church, going to class, then you can do whatever you want. But he embodied that, and then after he left, he did whatever he wanted. And it's like I wish we had more time, because like I said, after he left Hampton, we didn't see each other that much, because he was in Rochester and then Boston, and I was Hampton, and then been in Atlanta for 27 years or whatever. And then he went to move to LA, so we didn't get a lot of time as adults to kind of discuss, what and everything that he was going through. Like I would hear, just like everybody else would hear, what all the things he was doing and the greatness of what he was doing. But yeah, we never got to really kind of hash it out on what it was, because like I was there with you, but if you at Hampton when we were there, unless I told you my name, nobody knew that we were related. They didn't even know that he had a brother that went there. And even to this day, there are people that come to me and is like, "Are you related to Tim Benson?" I was like, "Yeah, for the last 51 years." And that was the thing, because we are 180-degree different.
Y'all both pretty good on the field, so I'm not gonna say it's that far
but,
apart.
but our personalities and everything, like when I said he was an alpha before, like he made me earn everything at Hampton. Like like, but see, it looked like I'm in his shadow, but it's just like, hey, I want to be an alpha. He's already alpha. I want to ball out on the field. He's already on the field or whatever. So I never looked at it as a competition. But the great thing about it is he made me earn all of that. There was nothing. He was just as hard on me when we were online or we were in the locker room. Sometimes I wanted to call my mama. I was like, hey, man, I don't know if this man knows me. We be going, hey, we be going home for Christmas. I said, hey, man, you mind if I ride with you? He's like, hey, we full. What you mean we full?
What?
No, yeah, I was like, because there was a gang of us. They were about a group of 10 that would drive back. You know, they were from St. Louis, and then the three of us would go to just. And he'd be like, man, we full. I was like, oh, I'm gonna tell my mama on you if I can get home.
Man.
But yeah, it wasn't no play with him. He's a very, very serious guy. Very serious.
Yeah, I got that impression. Like I said, the briefcase thing I was aware of,
Hmm.
and you just kind of look at that and go, "What is this?" But it's an understanding that he was about his business, and whether it be in the classroom or on the field, it was the same. I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do. I'm going to take care of my business. So it was definitely worthwhile. That's why as I started this, and as you know, that this podcast is players then and now, there was no other place to start from my own experience than to start with your brother. Certainly, it was a great experience as a enthusiast. I consider myself a Hampton football enthusiast. I like to pay attention to history and notes and facts. And you still have it, by the way. I was looking at the record book. You still have a record in the record book that's
Well,
active.
yeah, I'm still in there a little bit.
You in there,
Just a few places. Yeah,
but
yeah. But I really,
that's awesome.
and I don't want to forget, but I really want to thank you for what you said in the beginning, whatever. Like your dedication. A lot of people don't, as you're a unicorn, especially in an HBCU, especially at Hampton, where even my girlfriend at the time, she would never come to my games. So for you that had the best, we were like, come on, we're right there. It's free to come to the games, but for you to travel and like these PWIs, where the girls are gonna come, but the guys are enthusiasts to see somebody like you and still carry that fire and support the program. It means a lot for us. I know you. I don't know if you've ever heard it, but I want to give you your flowers for that because that support meant a lot to us. So especially for me coming from a high school where we averaged 10,000 at our high school games
Whew.
every Friday night. Like we would travel to Arkansas, Illinois, Kansas, Kentucky to play football games in front of all these crowds and to come to Hampton and just be like, what's this? So, but so I want to thank you for that support. That means a lot to hear that.
Well, like I said, it was wonderful. I have no, it was so good that I'm continuing to think about what it has been over time and what it can be. I guess what I'm focused on now, as I'm like you, like I'm in that 50 track. I'm looking at it and simply saying, I hope these young people today appreciate what they're in right now. Where they are right now, what they have in front of them right now, because this is a very significant time to be participating, and we enjoyed ourselves. It was a time when you didn't have social media and all these other things. So Saturday morning, you all were getting ready to play, and Saturday morning we were coming out of the dorms and loading up that stands. There weren't a lot of us. Hampton's a small school,
Yeah.
but it was something to more than something to do. It was fun. And so I hope that young people today are still doing that, and that the players still appreciate that as it's going on.
Absolutely, because I never got to, like I said, I never experienced it. The last year I was there when I was no longer playing, I was just finishing my engineering degree. I volunteered to work for the sports information, so I never really got to just be a fan. I got to be a fan from the working standpoint. I didn't have to do all this stuff, but to actually watch it, that's why watching my kids and being able to be a sports dad and be able to watch them, I was like, imagine this in college. And then my dream came true with my son playing in college, and I was like, "Yo, this is fun." To be a fan, I was like, "This is incredible." But I still would love to just do one more series, just one more. I'll probably never walk again or another, but Just hand me the ball one time. I just yeah, that it's a drug that I will never be unaddicted to.
Well, before I run, and certainly I thank you for your time. I know you got some stuff to do. You're busy as it is. You're always welcome, by the way, to talk about what's happening now or talk about some player in the past that you think deserves some attention. Um, and that was going to be kind of where I was going to leave it, which was, what's your greatest memory of your brother on the field, and then if you have any other thoughts you want to share, I know you're doing some great things yourself. If you want to talk about that, feel free to do so.
Okay, yeah, but yeah, I want to keep this focused on him because, like I said, it's. I tell everybody, it's Booker T and then Tim Benson. Like they need a statue of him because it's. I hope it doesn't get lost on the impact that he did, and like I said, his the caliber of him. Like when he finally became an alpha, he was already wearing a suit, already doing that. Like so, he was what you look for, and even the players they looked up to him in a manner. Even the coaches, and the thing is, he never took his foot off the gas. And I would be doing not a disservice, but I couldn't do it as good. I go back and talk to the now players, but I wouldn't be to do the success that he would do it at. So I try my best, but not to try to be anywhere close to him the way that he could deliver a message, whatever. But it's one of those things is it's there. And nothing's going to be made up. If anything, it's something that's going to be left out on the greatness of him. You know what I'm saying? So, and for all the great things that he did and the legacy he left behind, and he has two boys, his twin boys that are turning 12 next week or 2 weeks next week or whatever. So he has a legacy behind that. We as his siblings have been responsible for helping him raise them with his widow. So he did leave the legacy, and they're looking like him. So it's even crazier. And they're playing sports now, and they're already smart. I was just like, now you got two Tims, and I said that is what would be the only thing to replace him. And God knew that if he was going to be replaced, it had to be with two people. It had to be. And it was such a beautiful thing when we found out he's having twins. And then whenever he was transitioning, and I was like, man, God is funny. I was just like, and we try to keep up with the stories and tell them about, but they're starting to become him. But to ever watch the matriculation of two Tims is crazy. It's crazy. So I just really, and one of my fondest memories of was with my first touchdown versus Livingston College, and he was the first person to congratulate because he was on the field. He had blocked for me to get into the end zone, and I'm looking around. I was like, did I just score my first college touchdown? And I look up, and it's my big brother there to congratulate me or whatever. So that was one of the many memories that we got, like I said, that year in '93, which I think was the better team. That should have been the national championship team in '93, but we became the college national champions in '94, the Black College National '94, whatever. But I think the '93 team was the best team, because that was the remnants of all the people before Coach Taylor got there, and then Coach Taylor's second group of people coming there. But that was one of my fondest memories on the field with him. So,
And that is a worthwhile memory. I hope somebody got a picture of that.
I made a highlight film, so I do have that. Have to get a still of it, but that was all VHS and stuff like that. So I've been trying to digitize it. Man, it looks. They were like, "Is this college? Are y'all sure?" I said, "Man, the tapes is wild. it's VHS. It's a little ashy. It needs some lotion, but yeah, it's a. I have a still of that. I have a still I've captured of me and him on the field at the same time, whatever. So I really need to blow those up. So.
Well, whenever you do, it's certainly worthwhile because that sounds like an amazing memory, which many siblings would love to have, right? The
Yes.
opportunity to be on the field and together. And he was on his way out at that point,
Yeah,
right?
that
That was
was it.
it.
Yeah, he was going on to become great. So yeah, so
Well,
that's
I would argue that from early on, Tim was already great. So,
absolutely.
hey, Malcolm, I appreciate your time and your service to the university from a football perspective and in life. Hopefully you continue to inspire these young people and young football players that they need to remain student athletes. So,
Absolutely.
hey, man, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Appreciate you, sir.
Take care.